Okay, so let us begin our gentle warm-up then. So from the very core of our bodies, we're going to gently turn and stretch and open, and the other side as well. And then we can softly release the body and allow the body to turn. So with the idea of finding a way to go deeper, I think we're probably getting much more used to our standing postures these days because we're doing quite a lot of it, quite a regular practice with standing. And so I can't help but reference the lovely lady who I met in China, Madame Wang, who had cured herself of breast cancer, not once, but twice, just using standing meditation. So the question is, what standing meditation? So the standing part of it is really powerful. I think that's one of the key healing factors in Zheneng Qigong. And also it's common to a lot of other Qigongs as well, is that when we just stand in place very quietly, let the body relax into an optimum position, that we're able to allow the qi to flow through the body really easily. So the implication here is that sitting at a desk, sitting in the car, slumped on the sofa, you're not allowing the qi to flow in its best possible way. When we stand and we have our knees gently bent, our long spine, chin tucked, then we get the optimum standing posture. And in the optimum standing posture, we're most able to connect ourselves into the qi fields around us, connect ourselves to the earth, to the heavens, to nature around us, gather in lots of energy, but also crucially, also in a good position to allow ourselves to release qi that's not required. So if you've studied your biology, you'll know about osmosis. And the idea of osmosis is that something like salt or a chemical or something like that goes from an area of high concentration to an area of low concentration. And what happens is they try to balance each other out. And so if you get lots of salt in one place and not a lot in another, the body does this osmosis, which allows the one to flow to the other and bring about harmony. So your body's always trying to naturally seek harmony. Same is true for our qi flows. So just a little sort of history about qi. The idea is that as people discovered this energy in Chinese culture, it became more and more refined. Then we get to the stage where you're sort of saying, there's the qi of the liver and the qi of the kidneys and the qi of and it becomes the qi that flows in this channel and so forth. And after a while, I remember asking one of my teachers, well, something like, well, where does the qi of the liver become the qi of the large intestine? So, well, they sort of change from one to the other, and it was a pretty sort of vague answer. And I think when you study Dr. Pang's theories, he basically says to you, everything is qi. Everything is Hunyuan qi. So at the uber level, nobody requires these incredibly fine definitions. Well, I suppose if you're studying acupuncture, it might be useful for you to understand these things at a really, really deep level. But I think also we can get lost in the minutiae of it all. So better just to think about qi in terms of general energy in one's body and understand that as we stand in the right posture, that energy is attempting to correct itself, constantly trying to move and change and balance, always balance. So once we've set up our standing posture and we've got our energy healing our body as best we can, we then ask, what's stopping us from healing? And that's essentially old stories, old patterns, old thoughts. So we have the idea of past, present, and future. If we sit in the present moment, we're just with ourselves. We're just very connected, let's say. However, if we allow ourselves to dwell in the past, we're picking up old stories. And it's generally very rare that we go back to the past and think about happy days that we had, lovely things that happened to us. It's much more frequent that we go back and think, oh, that terrible time, that terrible person, that terrible event. And so when we reminisce, when we go back into the past, it tends to be not happy, it tends to be sad. And so those things that are sitting in the past are creating patterns in our bodies. They create emotions. And as we tuck into those emotions, then the chemical flows start around the body. When those chemicals start to flow around the body, then they can have negative effects on the health. When we look forward to the future, we tend to be worrying about something. We tend to be thinking, oh, what's it going to be like? What's that going to how will that affect me? What's going to go on? And so again, by looking forwards, we tend to be causing ourselves stress. Okay, let's just slow this exercise down a little bit and then just take it a bit wider, a bit longer, really stretch and open. So the implication is that the past and the future, one holds wrecks and relics that are not particularly useful to us, and one holds phantoms that, that haven't arrived yet. And it's very rare that we sort of direct ourselves to the good bits. Well, that's just human habit, isn't it? But that's something we need to escape. And so the remedy for that is being in the present moment, not engaging with those events in your past, not engaging with those potentialities in your future. So we think about each thing that from the past it was an event. It might have been an awful long time. It might have been your entire schooling. It might have been one time, with a partner who was violent. It might have been whatever it is. That's, it can be termed as an event, something that happened to you. And of course, same for the future stuff, something that will happen to you. And so each event becomes like a card in a filing system that we can pull out at will, read it, upset ourselves, and set off a chemical imbalance. And so the idea is, how do we start to take those cards out and rip them up and get rid of them? So each of those events in our past, how do they differ from an event in your present moment? So for instance, as you stand here, from a window, you might be able to see a bird flying by. Oh, that's an event. You might see the sun come out. That's an event. You might hear a lorry drive by. Just an event. Somebody might say something horrible to you. Just an event. All of these things are actions that happen to you. And the question is, how do you respond to those actions? How do you choose to respond? Because in every single moment, you can just let the bird fly by, or you can say, oh, look, it's a bird. I think it's a blackbird. Is that a blackbird? Maybe it's not. Perhaps it's a rook, and sort of go into a whole questioning theory about that event, which you didn't need to do. You could just have watched the bird fly by and not have it affect you in any way at all. Somebody might say, oh, you should have done that. You should have blah, blah, blah. You can choose to be affected by it, or you're going to choose to just let it pass. So in a moment, we'll look at how that all looks in a way, and how we deal with it. So let this whole thing come to a gentle stop. Slow down, relax. Okay, and bring the whole thing to a stop. Okay, let's gather some chi. So plant your hands deep in the earth and lift up. Let the chi move down through your body and draw the chi deep into your belly. And then just let it run on down. Let's gather. And let's pour. Again, gathering and pouring. Just allow this energy to filter deep into your belly, deep into your core. Feel the connection with the earth. Let's continue to do some forward bends. So just lift the hands gently up in the air. And then we're going to tip hands over. So first of all, arms and ears go over. Then we work into the upper back, to the middle back, and gently into the lower back. Just let the body hang and gently relax there. No pressure at all. So in this totally relaxed position, we're going to let our hands extend gently towards the floor. And then we're going to release that bend. We're going to go down in line with the roots of our toes. And then release. Heads gently towards the insteps. And then release. And eventually work our way back to the heels and a nice comfortable deep bend. Relax and release, let the body hang. Lift the tailbone up behind. Swing the tailbone to the front. Curl the spine up and gently roll up. Head, arms and ears gently roll up. Up to full height. Good long stretch. Let's let the knees and hips move forward as we lean back. Stretching up and gently back. Up. Gently back. Up. And gently back. Hands up into the blue sky. Let's do our side bends then. So let the left hand curl down. Down on the right hand side. On the left. And on the right. Good. Bring the hands up into the blue sky. Allow the hands just to pour over the crown of the head and allow chi pouring down for a moment. And then we go into our next set of forward bends. Stretching up. Let the neck go over first. And then arch the upper back. Arch the middle back. Arch the lower back. Just let the body hang there for a moment. Body just hangs and relaxes. So we make our first extension gently down towards the toes. And release. Imagining a line between the roots of our toes, gently stretching towards that. And release. Working towards our insteps. And release. Working towards our heels. And release, let the body hang. Lift the tailbone gently up behind. Push the tailbone to the front of the body. Allow the spine to gently roll up. Head, arms and ears gently roll up. Stretch up into the blue sky. Knees and hips drift forward as you lean back. Stretch up and lean back. Up and gently back. Up and gently back. Hands up into the blue sky. Allow our left hand side to gently curl down. Right side of the body opens. Over on the right. On the left. And on the right. Hands come up above. Just prepare ourselves to do this with straight legs then. So let your legs be straight. Tip over the head, the arms, the ears. Roll into the upper body, middle and lower. Allow the body to relax and hang. Gently and easily hang. Tummy tucks in slightly. Okay, good. So a little extension towards the toes. Release. In line with the roots of our toes. Release. Working towards our insteps. And release. Back towards the heels. Nice deep bend. And release and relax. Lift the tailbone up behind. Push the tailbone to the front. Roll the spine up with the head, arms, and ears gently coming up. Stretch. Release knees and hips forward as you lean back. Stretching up and gently back. Up and back. Up and back. Hands up into the blue sky. Left hand down. Right hand down. Down on the left. And down on the right. Stretch the hands back up. Allow the chi to pull for a moment. And then we go one last time. Legs are straight. Tip over the head, the arms, the ears. Gently drift down. Gently roll down. Body hangs and relaxes. Take it nice and easy. Back of the neck is soft. Good. Okay, so our first extension takes us towards the toes. And release. In line with the roots of our toes. And release. Toward the insteps. And release. Back towards the heels, deep bend. Body relax. And release. Let the arms hang down. Tailbone lifts behind. Tailbone pushes to the front. Spine rolls gently up. Head, arms, and ears gently roll up. Stretch up into the blue sky. Nice long stretch. Knees and hips go forward as you lean back. Stretching up. Gently back. Stretching up. Gently back. Stretching up. Gently back. Good. Curling down on the left hand side. Right hand side of the body opens. Down on the right side. On the left. And on the right. Draw the hands up above. Allow the chi to pull. Release the hands down the sides. Let's gather chi and pour chi. Gather and pour. Allow the chi to move down through the body. Draw the chi deep into the belly. Let's gather one more time, or as many times as you need. But I'll just do one more time and bring the hands to the belly. So if you're feeling lightheaded, you just continue doing this till you feel stable and steady. Don't forget, you can always sit down. You can always lie down, whatever suits for you. But eventually we bring our hands back to the belly. Bringing the hands back to the belly really brings us back into our physicality. Brings us back into the core of our body. So search for the core of your body. Feel your mind deep inside the core of your body. So mind can be a bit like a butterfly, flip off and go off into different places, from flower to flower. But we draw the mind back inside and we draw it down into the belly. And that brings us very centered in the core. The hands on the belly help just to hold that in place, just to keep our attention in the lower area. So just stay there for a few moments. I'll just ask you to bring your attention down to Yongquan, the kidney point on the sole of your foot. So to find the exact point of that, imagine splitting your foot into 3 pieces. So of course, to make 3 bits of foot, you need 2 lines. So the first line will go across sort of just to the ball of the foot, and the second line will go across just before the heel. So you've got 3 front, middle, and back, as it were, of your foot. And then if you think about the going the other way, the middle toe, drawing back along the middle toe, coming to where the middle toe joins the sole of the foot, going over the bump of your ball of the foot and heading down. And it's going to intersect with the 3rd line going across your foot. And that's pretty much where your Yongquan kidney point is. So it's just at the front 3rd of the foot, right in the center of the, right on the center line. When you bend your knees, you feel the weight gently shift forward to that point, really connect down. Imagine you can put roots out from the center of your foot deep into the center of the earth. Imagine that the wonderful roots you extend out. They've got tap roots on the side, connecting, clinging onto the earth, really feel stable. As we bend our knees gently, that creates this pressure on Yongquan. It allows it to open slightly and allows the chi to flow into your body, like sap rising from the roots up into a tree. We have this incredible energy moving up from the earth. So let's just track it. It comes up from the earth through this point on the sole of the foot into the center of your foot. Allow it to go into the center of your ankle, and allow the ankle just to be illuminated by chi. Achilles tendon too can often end up with Achilles pain. Let's just bathe that whole area in chi and the whole of the foot. Imagine the chi passage as it moves up through the center of your leg. So up through the center of the calf, filling the calf with chi, to the center of the knee. Illuminate inside your knee and fill that with chi. Continue on up through the center of the thigh, illuminating with chi. Up into the center of your hips. And then from the center of the hip, move the chi to the center between your legs, Hui Yin. So you have this channel of energy moving from the earth, flowing up the center of each leg, up into the hips, and then up into Hui Yin between the legs. And then it moves up from there, right up into the core of the belly, just where your hands are now. So you have this fantastic connection with earth energy flowing up. But it's also true that if anything needs to be let go of, it can also flow back into the earth. Then also we have Bai Hui on top of the head. Gently lift the top of the head up into the blue sky. Allow the top of the head to open. Allow blue sky chi to pour down. So again, we can gather the energies of the heavens just by standing like this and standing with a nice straight spine. Just a tiny tuck forward of the tailbone, just a tiny drawing back of the chin. That spine is nice and straight, pushing Bai Hui up into the blue sky. The blue sky comes pouring down into your body. How would that be? We allow that to come in through Bai Hui and imagine it filling the center of your head. So in the center of the head, we have upper dantian. Let upper dantian become abundant, but also the actual physicality of your brain, your skull, your head. Just let the chi radiate from the core of that out into the bones of your head and down into the organs such as the eyes, nose, mouth, ears. Allow the whole of the brain, but also the whole of the head to benefit from this extraordinary chi. Fill your neck with chi. We can allow this chi to pour down the spine as well. So go down to the neck and into the shoulders, into the chest. And in the center of your chest, we find the middle dantian. So the middle energy field also gathering chi. It's another storage place. It holds chi for your organs. So when we fill up middle dantian behind the breastbone, that starts to supply chi into your heart, into your lungs, spleen, pancreas on the left, liver on the right, and kidneys around the back. So we can use this reservoir of energy to support all of these chi organs. And eventually imagine that energy streaming down from middle dantian to lower dantian to join. So you can imagine this incredible axis of energy straight through the center of your body, from Bai Hui on the top, all the way down to Hui Yin between your legs, from Hui Yin between your legs all the way up to Bai Hui on the top. And in the middle, 3 dantian storing wonderful chi. Your spine nice and straight keeps this line of chi through your body nice and straight. Energy gathering, energy moving. So they often say, well, in the older systems, they sort of say the chi in your belly, or the energy in your belly, which they used to call jing, deep inside the core of your body, like a boiling sort of kettle, gives off steam and vapor, which arrives in the center of your chest and eventually becomes so refined, it becomes sort of spirit in your brain. It's this lovely sort of old idea of some sort of like a science, like a Liebig condenser, applying heat in the belly to make everything bubble and boil in the center of the chest and eventually become spirit in your head. It's a system that is thousands and thousands of years old and is a bit out of date, but it's a nice idea that this whole kind of chemistry set in the core of you, energy moving up and down, being transformed into whatever's needed. So, okay, we have this lovely system, but there's another channel yet. So just allow your hands to relax down by the sides and hold a ball of chi in front of your belly. So how big is the ball of chi? Doesn't really matter. Sometimes people have their hands just resting on the belly button with a little ball, a little sort of cage shape made by your fingers. You can open that ball out and hold something the size of a very good sized watermelon. Eventually, we can open and close our hands, and you might open them as far as an enormous beach ball and then down to your melon size. There's a sort of, a gentle movement of the hands here. It's not really important at the moment, so your hands might automatically gently move, that's fine. But at the moment, we're just concentrating on the hands themselves, thinking about the palm of the hand, Lao Gong, right in the center. So in the center of the hand, there's this point. If you were to take your middle finger and fold it down, you'll touch Laogong. So that's pretty much the center of the palm. But also it's matched on the back of the hand with a point as well. So Laogong goes all the way through the hand. It has an entrance front and back of the palm. You can imagine the whole hand illuminating with qi. So the qi coming in from all around your body. Sorry, from nature around your body, as it were. The qi field around you, going in through the hands, filling the hands, going into the center of your wrist. Why not illuminate the center of your wrist with qi? Healing your wrists, filling your forearms with qi, healing your elbows. Allow a ball of qi to just expand gently in the center of your elbow into the upper arm. Allow this ball of qi to expand gently in the shoulder joint. So these balls of qi in our ankles and knees and hips, in our wrists, elbows and shoulders, just expand gently to make the joint work well, to take all the pressure off. So you can fill these joints with beautiful balls of qi. Journey a little bit further up your shoulder towards your neck. So we find a point midway from the center of the spine to the tip of the shoulder. On top of the shoulder, there's an acupuncture point there called Janjing, the shoulder well. It's like exactly that. It's got a beautiful description. The shoulder well. It's a well of qi. So as the qi moves up your arms, it gathers in the well, and then it can pour downwards into the middle dantian. So from the shoulders, deep inside the body to middle dantian, deep inside the body to lower dantian. So now we're gathering from every direction, gathering through the legs, gathering through the hands, gathering from the head. But of course, that's very kind of directed and prescriptive. The fact is that if we just allow our skin to open up, allow our skin to gently dissolve into the qi field, then we're just becoming one with qi anyway. So perhaps you can just scan through your body. Let the head dissolve into qi, the neck dissolve into qi, shoulders and arms dissolved into qi, back and spine dissolved into qi, chest, middle of the body, the belly, down into the hips, all dissolve into qi, and the legs also. Perhaps you can scan through the body and see if there's anything that doesn't want to dissolve, anything that feels uncomfortable. There's never any problem about moving the body. If you want to move, doesn't matter. Just try to keep the mind steady. So sometimes we can get really distracted by our bodies. Something painful keeps on saying, oh, I want to move, I want to move, I want to move. Just satisfy that. Just let it happen. Don't stand there in pain and try just to grunt through it, as it were. Better just to make a gentle movement and then come back to your mind. So ultimately, by making these gentle micro movements, we can eventually come to a standing stance that is sustainable. And actually, the truth is you can come to a standing stance that's really quite enjoyable, but it takes a little bit of time to get there and you just have to persevere. And that's what an awful lot of Qigong is about. It's about hanging in there and waiting for things to change, because they really do change. So if you think that your standing stance is uncomfortable, hang in there. Make little micro changes to see how they work. For me, I often used to get a pain between my shoulder blades, so I'd lift up the center of my chest just an inch, and suddenly the pain goes away, and you think, oh, there it is. That's where I'm standing wrong. For my body, I need to just make that little adjustment. We always remind ourselves to bend the knees, keep the spine straight by tucking tailbone, tucking chin. Body relaxes. Body relaxes. Qi is flowing well. So now we go back to our story about these events that happen, and if you decide to connect with them or not. Well, the default setting for humans is to take everything personally. We constantly feel that we are the victim. We're being attacked by someone. Something's not working. An event in the world is affecting us negatively. But who's it affecting? This is the deep philosophical question. Who are you? Who am I? So whether we're using the planning department to look at the future, or whether we're using the rumination department to look at the past, we're constantly sort of delving backwards or forwards to try and see what the future holds or the past is governing for this life that we live. But that's not really flowing. So the whole nature of the Tao is to allow yourself just to be in the present moment, to gently flow. And as the events occur, you can then decide how to process, if you wish to engage. Are they useful? Are they not? So we bring ourselves back into this present moment. It's the old way of being and the new way of being. So Teacher Lou often makes an illustration of a ball. He draws a circle on the board and he fills it with little squiggles and dashes and shapes and things. And then he puts a little red dot there and he says, there's you. And then you look at the massive things around. He says, can you see this squiggle over here at the other side of the ball? No, you can't, because there's, too many things in your way. So this is the idea of not being able to see the wood for the trees. So how are you able to see the entire wood? Well, if you're standing in the middle of the trees, you can't. You can't see in any direction because all you see is trees every way. In order for you to actually see the wood, you'd have to leave it and go and stand on the mountain next to it. Then you can look back and say, oh, there's a lovely wood down there. But if you're standing in the center of the wood, all you see is the trees around you. It's impossible for you to gain perspective. So how do you find your way to the top of that mountain to allow you to view the wood below? What is the journey we take? What is the path we use to gain this perspective? Well, the first thing is to imagine you can stand back from this world. Just for a moment, we're right here in this standing posture, listening to the world. So if you can hear a bird cheeping, our tendency might be to go to say, oh, I think that's a blackbird. Because we love to categorize, we love to label. But now, I'm just asking you not to label it, just allow it to be. You might hear a vehicle passing and think, oh, that reminds me, the delivery is coming later. Try not to attach to that sound. It might be totally still and quiet in the place you're working. And then a thought will pop up. What am I supposed to be doing later? Do I have an appointment? Gently brush it away. So is there any actual difference between the disturbance caused by a thought from your diary, from your planning department, and a bird tweeting? Not really. They're just sort of vying for your attention. Suddenly, out of nowhere, an emotion arises. You think to yourself, oh God, I wish I hadn't done that. I wish that person hadn't said that to me. I wish that, one of those thoughts suddenly comes up. With the best will in the world, you gently bless it and send it on its way. Let go, don't engage. Each of these events, your brain doesn't really know the difference between them. You hear a bird cheep. You hear a dog bark. You hear a car pass. A thought pops up, a future event presents itself. They're all just disturbances in the fabric of your mind. Our sensory organs gather in information from the outside, and they process them through the brain. But also the emotions that arise inside us get processed through the brain. So your brain really can't tell whether something from the past is happening to you right now, because in those emotional moments, it seems very real. When you plan things, you can get very involved in it. This is what sets humankind apart. The ability to think conceptually, the ability to create these edifices that seem extraordinarily real, just as real as a dog barking, just as real as a bird flying by. And your brain can't really tell the difference between them. And so some grotesque moment of abuse from the past, the memory comes up, it triggers the chemical cascade, and it seems like it's happening right now. Your body panics, it goes into fight and flight mode. Adrenaline and cortisol flood your body, your heart rate goes up. And that was just an idea, just a memory that popped up. So now we gently move these ideas away. Don't label anything. Don't even try and say, well, that was a thought about Uncle Johnny. That was a bird. That was a dog. That was a memory of school. We don't even have to label it. We just stand back from it. So can you try and create a little bit of space around you? Can you try and gently move these ideas away from you? So rather than being right here in the forefront of your brain, just let them push away, let them dissolve into the chi field around you. Give yourself a bit of space inside your mind's eye. Protect yourself as well. Just feel that you can just put this lovely space in between you and ideas. Let's see how long we could hold this space for. Let's just give ourselves a couple of minutes. I won't talk. You can just gently brush off things as they arise. Stand for a few moments. So perhaps you're very good at standing in this quiet way. But what happens if you're finding it difficult? What happens if you find being bombarded by ideas? Listen to your breath. I don't want you to change your breath in any way. Just gently follow it as it goes in. As you breathe out, follow it out. Nothing else, just the breath. And then let your mind and body relax once more. this very still state, our body is already healing itself. We try to develop longer and longer times where we stand in this very still state. Doesn't mean unmoving, because a gentle micro movement is no problem. Doesn't mean unthinking, because thoughts will definitely pass by, and sounds will definitely occur, and sensations will definitely arise. But don't attach to them, don't label them. And don't criticize yourself for having had the thoughts come up. They do, and they will. And over a period of time, they'll become less. Let's try to adjust this further. This body that we occupy, this event called Jeremy. What happens when you step away from that? Just imagine you can take one step backwards and step out of your body. Perhaps you can move up a couple of meters and look gently down on your body. A kind of slightly out of body experience. From this higher perspective, just see your body filled with these emotions, filled with these chemical flows, filled with these thoughts, constantly monitoring and labeling and hearing things. You just step gently back from that. Let's just rest back and view our bodies just for a few moments. So perhaps in your mind's eye, you're able to view this body in front of you. The physical entity that goes through this strange 3D world that we play in. Perhaps you're able to see that entity and see where it has problems and see where it has pain, see where it has blockage. Just gently open your hands and feel those blockages dissolve in that body. As you draw your hands back together, imagine you can flood that body with healing energy. So now we're doing a gentle remote healing on ourselves, really. from a higher self perspective, from a true self perspective. Just imagine that you can tune up this beautiful body. Send chi to the emotions. Send chi into the physicality. Send chi into the chemical makeup of the body. Send chi into the chi body around it. And just gently work away with anything you feel needs to be improved with that chi body. So at any stage, we're able to gently withdraw ourselves from the fire, able to gently move back into our conscious minds, gently able to see what occurs to this body for what it really is, just an event. We're able to stand back and understand this body doesn't need to overreact, doesn't need to fight, doesn't need to have tough times. Because those are all just events, those things that are happening, just events. You can stand back from them and see them for what they are. A rude word, an angry conversation, a dog barking, no difference. Just stand back from them, let them bounce off you. So we can gently draw our energies back together again and draw ourselves back into our bodies and feel the body. Feel it clean, feel the energy flowing well. Feel your body remembering how to heal itself. At the deepest level, your body knows how to heal itself. We can gently bring our feet back together again. We can gently bring our hands into the prayer position in front of our hearts. When we come into the prayer position, let the hands connect deep inside. You drift the hands slowly up in front of the body. Drift the hands slowly over the crown of the head and extend up into the blue sky. And then let the hands drift down a little bit. Let the knees soften, open up, little fingers, ring fingers, middle fingers, split the hands apart into a great wide arc. Down around at the front and send the chi deep inside. Fill your brain with the most wonderful chi. Dantian chi is abundant. Blood and chi flowing well. All functions of your brain, perfect working order. Let the hands come down, allow the arms to draw. To da bao, send chi deep inside. This middle energy field supplies energy into your lungs and heart, spleen, pancreas, liver, kidneys, an abundance of chi deep inside those organs. All functions of those organs returning to perfect working order, strong, working well, an absolute power that drives your organs to heal and work at tip-top condition. Fill middle dantian with this incredible energy. Drifting the hands backwards, the back of the hands come forwards. We gently turn the palms over, sweep, and then slowly gather chi back towards lower dantian. Draw the chi back, hold the chi deep inside. Let that chi gather in the belly. Lower dantian chi is abundant, blood and chi flowing well. blood and qi flow well. You can imagine it sweeps up your spine, all the way up into the brain, neck, shoulders, all the way down to your fingertips, whole of the spine, whole of the body, all of the hips into the thighs, knees, calves, ankles, feet. You are a qi being. Imagine you're standing in a qi shield, your weight qi layer around the body, and around that, an amazing field of energy connects you, protects you. Just imagine yourself as this incredible qi being, deep inside, every cell of your body working well, all functions returning to perfect working order, all functions normal, all functions normal. Lovely. So we can just turn 3 circles round lower dantian. It gathers qi deep inside, brings all the energy back, holds it inside. And then we go back in the opposite direction. That seals off, holds the qi, keeps it there, so that when you need it, it's there ready to be used. Just imagine yourself as a being of light inside your shield of energy, safe, happy, all functions of your body normal, all functions normal. Everything returns to perfect working order. And we let the hands drift down beside us. We can slowly open our eyes and stretch out a little bit. Just let the body move in any way that it feels like it might need to move. And then when we've had a little stretch out, we can say haola together. So you'd like to unmute yourselves. Hands in the air. 1, 2. Ha. 1, 2. Ha. Last time. 1, 2. Ha. Make a little salute. Thank you very much. Very good. See you soon. Thank you for being here.